Happy Thursday morning, everybody. Today is going to be a big day. Mark Martin on Kenny Conversation. We have had Mark Martin in depth about his racing career on Kenny Conversation. However, we felt like it was time to revisit Mark Martin because Mark has been on social media and his opinions have been strong. Let me explain. Mark comes from a standpoint that he's aggravated with NASCAR, and he had a lot to say. I come from a standpoint where I don't think I can change NASCAR, so let's have fun. And I see all the older NASCAR fans upset and they want change. Well, I just don't think we're going to make a difference. I don't think we're going to change NASCAR. So I come from the standpoint that there's too much complaining. I come from the standpoint, you all are exhausting. You all wear me out. I come from the standpoint that I'm a happy person. I just grew up like this. So for me to defer, in other words, look, let me take everybody's anger and let's have a little fun with it. I've always told you all, I grew up on Saturday Night Live. So I take people's anger. I'm getting ready to laugh right now. And I'm like, let's have fun with it. So I started the old people, you old people. And I've said several times, and you all know it by now, old people is a joke, And then, of course, the sitcom Sanford and Son. Lamar, you big dummy. So I've said this over the last 2 weeks. I've explained myself. Well, with that, Mark Martin piped up one day. He goes, you know what? These old people, this is starting to hit pretty close to home. Wow. Mark Martin responded to me having fun with all you old people. You're angry. You complain all the time. It's exhausting. So Mark Martin said, listen, this is starting to hit pretty close to home. So immediately I call Mark on the phone. I call Mark. I said, Mark, you want to do a Kenny Conversation? He said, Mark Martin responded, absolutely. I said, you want to do it tomorrow? He said, right now, let's do it. So it was my idea to get Mark Martin on a second Kenny Conversation. And I thought this would be good. And boy, Mark Martin had a lot to say. We went an hour and 23 minutes effortlessly. Mark Martin did most of the talking. I know the whole racing community. I know Dale Jr. I know everybody is going to be watching it. It's coming out today. Mark Martin, like I've never heard before. Mark makes a lot of good points. I'm going to let you in on a little excerpt, like a little piece of what he said that really shocked me, made me look differently. I do want to let you all know that Mark Martin specifically blames one group of people for this, and it's not NASCAR. Mark Martin says there's one group of people to blame for the change in NASCAR, and it's not NASCAR. You're going to want to hear that, okay? He also said something to me that made me think differently. And of course, everybody has been showing the Richard Petty video from 40 years ago, where Richard Petty says, we're not baseball, we're not football, we're not hockey. That's why we're awesome, because we are not like other sports. Well, on this Kenny Conversation with Mark Martin, he said something that I went, wow, you're right. He said, Mark Martin said, I don't like it that NASCAR calls it the playoffs. We're not the damn playoffs. Mark Martin said, I don't like it that they used the word overtime. We're not in overtime. I went, wow, I never looked at it that way. I said, Mark, do you think NASCAR chose some key words to make us like other sports? Playoffs. We're in the playoffs, like baseball, football, hockey. We're going into overtime, like all the other sports. So you're going to want to listen to this. Mark Martin makes a lot of sense, and he's very good. And, of course, there's already been a cut out. There's already been an excerpt put out on video. Charlie put it out yesterday. Mark Martin feels like his career has been diminished with all the, he calls them gimmicks. I call them promos. In ending, I explained to myself to you, I said, I come at NASCAR as, we're not going to change it, so I'm having fun with it. Mark Martin comes at it like, nope, I'm pissed. So it was my idea, once again, for the second time. It was my idea, and it was a great, great conversation, and I hope you will like it, and it's coming out today. Today is Thursday. Obviously, yesterday, Wednesday, NASCAR comes out with another big press conference. Steve O'Donnell, the new president. Steve says the days of us building a racetrack in a rural area is over. I'm going to repeat it, then I'm going to explain it. NASCAR president Steve O'Donnell said the days of us building a racetrack in a rural area is over. Now, what does that mean? Well, Pocono is in a rural area. There's nothing around Pocono. It's the racetrack, and that's it. Iowa Speedway is in a rural area. There's a racetrack, and there's nothing around it. I think on the corner, there's a hotel and a gas station. So when you look at a lot of these racetracks that are built, that have been built in the day, for years NASCAR would build a racetrack. They'd find some land way out, and they'd build a racetrack. You know, for the better part, you even look at Chicago. I mean, there's nothing around Chicago, the racetrack. It's a commerce area for sending things down the river, down the big old Illinois River. So when you go to Chicago Speedway, it's very commercialized. I mean, commercialized to the maximum peak. Like, there's nothing around there, okay? I mean, I guess you could go down to Joliet and find a casino or so, but there's really, it's very commercialized. Okay, and the next thing that Steve O'Donnell said caught me off guard. Now, reported by Adam Stern, everybody, not me. Adam Stern, go to Adam Stern. Adam Stern said that NASCAR is in big talks. Listen to this. Another street course. Remember 2 days ago we talked about the street course in San Diego? Now NASCAR is talking about a street course 2 hours from Pocono in Philadephia. You say to yourself, what the hell is going on and why? I think Mark Martin and my conversation has come at the right time. You're getting ready to see NASCAR like you've never seen it in your life. If you want to jump off the boat right now, now's the time. Because NASCAR's going to look way different. But now I don't want you all to get depressed because, Martinsville's still here. We brought back Wilkesboro. We brought back Rockingham. So think about it, everybody. Think about it. We brought back Rockingham. We brought back Wilkesboro. So NASCAR is keeping its heritage. Let's be clear. NASCAR is keeping its heritage. But NASCAR sees value. They said, the next time we ever build a racetrack, it's going to be in the city with developers and development. Basically, NASCAR said if we ever build another new racetrack, it's going to be in an area where there's stuff going on with a developer. We're not going to do it by ourselves. All right, everybody, I think I've explained myself with Mark Martin. It's coming out today. It's going to be one of those deals where you don't listen for 20 minutes and shut it off. This is a deal where you're going to listen to it the whole way through. Mark Martin, like you've never heard him before. I help him with receipts. I bring the receipts. Mark Martin will say something, and then I'll say, yeah, this is the receipts, and it's really, really good. So Mark Martin, for all you old people, I love you. All right, everybody, respond right here, and have a great Thursday.